Ellora is a group of 34 major rock cut caves associated with the three major Indian religions, that is Buddhism, Hinduism and Jainism, along with more than 25 to 30 small excavations. The ancient name of this site was Elapur, mentioned in the inscriptions. In early medieval and medieval periods, the site has been mentioned by saints as well as travelers who visited this site in medieval period. Cave number 16, famous monolithic shrine, is mentioned as a Manakeshwar in Naneshwari, the commentary on Bhagavad Gita by well-known Marathi saint Naneshwar in 13th century of the Common Era. Mahanubhav Saint Chakradhar Swami also stayed for some time at Ellora. So it seems that the religious significance of Ellora was continued for many centuries till the late medieval period. Cave number 1 to 12 are associated with Buddhism. Cave number 13 to 29 are Hindu caves, whereas cave number 30 to 34 are Jain caves. Besides 17 major Hindu caves, there are more than 25 to 30 small Hindu caves which are scattered in Ganesh Leni group and Yogeshwari group. Earlier it was thought that Buddhist caves were excavated first, followed by Hindu and Jain caves. But recent study shows that some Hindu caves, that is cave number 21, cave number 29, were excavated earlier, followed by Buddhist caves, again then remaining Hindu caves, and finally the Jain caves. So from 6th century of the Common Era till the end of 10th century or early 11th century, Ellora was an important religious center, mainly engaging rock cut activity. So cave number 6 is considered as the earliest cave, followed by cave number 5, cave number 2, 3, 4, and cave number 11 and 12, which are 3-storied, are considered as the latest or the last excavations in Buddhist complex at Ellora. Ellora was an important center of Tantric Buddhism. So we do not get any concrete evidence of existence of Theravada or Hinayana at Ellora as we get at Ajanta and Aurangabad. Also the standard Mahayana cave, that is shrine cum monastery, which we generally get in cave number 1, cave number 2, cave number 16 and 17 at Ajanta, is missing at Ellora. So Ellora was developed as an important seat of Tantric Buddhism. So when we talk about Tantric Buddhism in the Western Deccan, Ellora was the most significant center, along with other supporting centers such as Kaneri, located in coastal region of the Western Deccan, and Panarekaji, which is also located in the coastal region of Western Deccan. So the religious imagery at Ellora signifies the Tantric Buddhism was very much developed and flourished in the Western Deccan from the 7th century onwards till the early 8th century. Tantric Buddhist imagery which we get at Ellora is quite interesting, as some of the icons do not match with the textual description. So we suggest that Tantric Buddhist icons were excavated or were carved at Ellora even before the standard Buddhist Tantric texts were codified or were being circulated in the country or in the ancient India. So which shows that Ellora was an important center of Tantric Buddhism. Probably it was a Mahasiddha Sarahapad who was credited the propagation of Tantric Buddhism from eastern India to the western Deccan, especially at Ellora. So Ellora is probably one of the earliest Buddhist sites in India where we get Ashta Bodhisattva Mandal. The Buddha is surrounded by 8 Bodhisattvas, including Avalokiteshvara, Vajrapani, Manjushri, Maitreya, Akshagarbha, Kshittigarbha, and the remaining Bodhisattvas. So, this schematic arrangement of Bodhisattvas in a specific order or in specific manner is a special feature of Buddhist rock cut caves at Ellora. In Tantric Buddhism, the worship of Buddha and Bodhisattva through the specific diagram or specific manner, that is a mandala, a schematic diagram, considered very important. So it shows that by the mid 7th century or by the late 7th century, Tantric Buddhist rituals were standardized, and first time we get such evidence in archaeological or in architecture context at Ellora. That is why either the Ashtabodhisattva Mandal or Buddhist iconography at Ellora deserve special mention to understand the early Tantric Buddhism in India. In Tantric Buddhism, the female counterpart or Shakti plays a vital role. That is why the 12 dharinis, which we found in cave number 12, suggest that the sculptures of some of the dharinis have been identified, such as Janguli, Chunda, Tara, Prakuti. By the end of 7th century, the female deities had occupied a significant place in the Buddhist rituals, and they were treated as an integral part of Buddhist rituals along with the worship of Bodhisattvas. And as we find the earliest evidence of how the female Buddhist deities were placed or were being worshipped and how their imagery was evolved and subsequently developed, the entire process of ritualistic development can be seen at Ellora in proper context. Tara, the most prominent Bodhisattva, who is a female counterpart of Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, got an important place in the religio-cultural imagery of Buddhist caves at Ellora. She is the most prominent among all Buddhist female deities at Ellora. By this time, by the mid 7th century onwards, Tara got an important position as a goddess of mercy, as a goddess of Karuna, that is a compassion. And along with Avalokiteshvara, she was also started to worship by the traders, monks, merchants and lay people. And there is only single sculpture of Ashtamahabhaya Tara in entire Western Deccan, which is found in cave number 9 of Ellora. Like Avalokiteshvara, she is also shown protecting the traders from various dangers such as shipwreck, fire, protection from wild animals, ferocious animals, snakes, captivity, suggests that by this time she was also considered as a goddess of protection by common people. Interestingly, the images of Tara protecting from 8 dangers, that is Ashtamahabhayas, is commonly found in the Buddhist art of Eastern India. Some of the sculptures of goddess as the Ashtamahabhaya Tara have been reported from Buddhist site Ratnagiri and others in Odisha. Avalokiteshvara is the most popular and significant Bodhisattva or Buddhist deity after Buddha in the religious imagery of India. More than 100 images of Avalokiteshvara have been reported from the Buddhist caves of Ellora. We also get various iconographic forms of Avalokiteshvara such as Ashtamahabhaya Avalokiteshvara, Rakta Lokeshvara, Sharakshari Lokeshvara, which confirm the worship of Avalokiteshvara in different iconographic form was popular and developed or flourished at Ellora. Images of Raktalokeshwar are very rare in Buddhist iconography of ancient India because Raktalokeshwar is mainly associated with the Shrungar Ras, that is erotic. And in Buddhist caves, he is shown along with Tara and Rukuti. According to the Buddhist text, that is the Sadhanamala and others, he represents red, or his images should be painted with a red color. Unfortunately, the images of Raktalokeshwar at Ellora do not preserve any color or any mark of the color, but it seems that all Buddhist images at Ellora were once painted and the Raktalokeshwar images were painted with a red color. Whereas the Sharakshari Lokeshwar is associated with his teaching. The Sharakshari Lokeshwar is basically the personification of his mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum. As Om Mani Padme Hum, the mantra of Bodhisattva Avalokiteshwar is of 6 aksharas or 6 syllables. That is why the personification of this mantra is depicted in Buddhist caves. Interestingly, the images of Avalokiteshvara as the Sarakshari Lokeshwara are also rare from the Buddhist art of Eastern India. And generally, the Sarakshari Lokeshwara is accompanied by Sharakshari Mahavidya, that is again the personification of the female personification of his mantra, Mahavidya, that is a great knowledge, and his attendant, that is a Manidhar, who again is also associated with the Akshamala, that is a kind of, which is a symbolic representation of the continuous activity or the continuous cycle. So the images of Raktalokeshwara and Sarakshari Lokeshwara, although they represent two different perspectives, one represents the Shrungaras, one represents highly philosophical meaning, but their presence suggests or their presence depicts a kind of a complex religious setting in the Buddhist imagery or in the contemporary Buddhism at Ellora. Buddhist caves at Ellora are full with the imagery of different Buddhist deities, male deities, female deities. We find the various bodhisattvas, the bodhishaktis, and some Buddhist deities along with the images of Buddha. Bodhisattva Maitreya, Vajrapani, and Manjushri are three important bodhisattvas who are depicted in the Buddhist caves. The presence of Bodhisattva Maitreya and occurrence of his images in these caves further suggests that he retained the same importance in the contemporary Buddhism like the Avalokiteshvara. Vajrapani was another Buddhist deity which was popular in Buddhist caves at Ellora. If we consider the entire philosophical symbolism and philosophical the meaning of Vajrapani, Vajrapani seems to be more important in entire Tantric Buddhism. And that is why Tantric Buddhism or Tantrayan is also called as a Mantrayan. That is the mantra or the mystic formula or magical formula or the formula of particular Buddhist deity was very important in the entire worship. It is also called as a Vajrayan because Vajra represents the thunderbolt. As we know, Vajra cannot be destroyed, it cannot be burnt, it cannot be broken down. So, the Vajra represents indestructibility of Buddhism. So, in that context, the role of Vajrapani in Tantric Buddhism or in the Buddhist caves at Ellora is very interesting. Besides his imagery as a flanking the Buddha, we find his presence in Ashtabodhisattva Mandal also as a separate Bodhisattva in Buddhist caves. Manjushri is another important Bodhisattva who has been commonly depicted. The two iconographic forms, that is the Stira Chakra and Siddhe Kabir, which are associated with the Tantric Buddhism or esoteric Buddhism, are also depicted in Buddhist caves. We find a special shrine, a special chamber where Hariti and Panchik are carved is noticed in Buddhist caves at Ellora. We also find more than 6 to 7 sculptures of Jambha, the Buddhist god of wealth, at Ellora. Hariti was a Yakshini who used to eat children of Rajagruha. Later on, Lord Buddha converted her and she became a disciple of Buddha. And Buddha promised her that food will be offered by the monks and lay people to her every day. Probably not only in structural monasteries but also in the rock cut monasteries, we find generally her chamber is or separate place has been allotted to Hariti and Panchi, which reminds us this famous episode of the Buddha's time. Their worship and the presence of their imagery also suggests even in the 7th century how Buddhism was supported by the local cult. It also reminds that even by the late 7th century, the Buddhists incorporated the local cults, the deities associated with the local cult, folk cult, into the mainstream of Buddhism, and this is very interesting evidence of late period which we get from Ellora. Prevalence of Jambhal image at Buddhist caves of Ellora or in the Buddhist caves of Ellora strongly suggests that Buddhism was still patronized by the trading community and merchant communities. The worship of Jambhal was mostly favored by such trading communities or merchant communities which patronize Buddhism. Probably this is most suitable reason for excavating the images of Jambhal, that is the Buddhist god of wealth, in the Buddhist caves at Ellora. The Buddhist caves at Ellora is rich in architectural pattern and form. There is only one Chaitya Gruha, that is the cave number 10 among the Ellora caves. And this cave number 10, which is locally called or locally known as Vishwakarma cave, is the last Buddhist or the latest Buddhist Chaitya Gruha in the Western Deccan. So this is a very interesting cave wherein we find how the typical Buddhist Chaitya plan was developed in the Tantric Buddhist architecture. Although the shape of the Chaitya Gruha, that is upside one, or the arrangement of the Chaitya arch on the facade are very much seen there. Cave number 10 is an example of the last Chaitya Gruhas or the latest Chaitya Gruha in the Western Deccan. Although this cave has retained the basic principles of Chaitya Gruha, such as upside plan or the presence of Chaitya arch on the facade, but due to the presence of rich Buddhist imagery, the entire concept of Buddhist Chaitya Gruha reached at its zenith, or we can say reached at its culmination at Ellora. Cave number 5 is another significant excavation in this group. The plan is altogether different from the standard Buddhist caves, and we have only Darbar cave at Kaneri, a parallel cave to this cave. The central rectangular hall has 2 raised platforms which are meant for educational purpose. So on the basis of presence of this cave, that is the cave number 5 in the Buddhist complex of Ellora, we can say Ellora was an educational center, at least when it was active as an important Buddhist center. Cave number 11 and 12 are triple storied caves which are huge monastic. All 3 stories are full with images of bodhisattvas Bodhisattvas, Buddhas, along with various decorative motifs, then figures of the Gandharvas, then Bharvahakas. So the massive pillars in both caves give a kind of majestic look to the cave. And we do not have any parallel example to such a huge or big monastic caves, that is the cave number 12 as well as cave number 11. Even their plan and the arrangement of the pillars, the cells, the halls strongly suggest their function as an educational center. So probably cave number 5, cave number 11 and cave number 12 are three specific caves which suggest Ellora was functioning as an important set of Buddhist education during the 6th-7th centuries of the Common Era. Remaining caves are the shrines, which are mainly meant for the worship of Buddha and Buddhist deities, Tantric Buddhist deities. Some caves are like shrine cum monastery of Tantric period, early Tantric period, as we find parallel examples from Aurangabad, that is the cave number 6 and cave number 7. Inscription in cave number 10 is a famous Buddhist mantra, E Dharma Hetu Prabhava. So the inscription which mention either patronage or donation from either from a royal family or from traders or lay people, which we generally find in Hinayana or Theravada period Buddhist caves or early Buddhist caves, are missing. So mostly the inscriptions are associated with the Buddhist mantras. As we have the remains of paintings in Kailash cave, that is the cave number 16. Also few small caves of Ganesh Leni, Jogeshwari Leni group, then from Jain caves. So it confirms that the Hindu and Jain caves were painted earlier. Although no remains of paintings have been preserved in any of the Buddhist caves, but if we compare with the presence of painting remains in Hindu and Jain caves, so the possibility of presence of paintings in some of the Buddhist caves cannot be ruled out. Secondly, Tantric Buddhist icons cannot be worshipped or cannot be considered pure for Buddhist rituals, Tantric Buddhist rituals, unless and until such images are painted, because their mantra or their sadhana provides detailed information about their color, because each deity is associated with a specific color, and the specific color has special significance or the functional aspect. Considering all these features of Tantric Buddhism, it seems that all Buddhist imagery or images at Ellora were once painted. Unfortunately, the remains of such paintings have not been preserved, but remains of plaster can be seen in some of the Buddhist caves. Yeah, this is very interesting question, because by early 8th century, the Buddhist rock cut activities were discontinued or stopped at Ellora. But the presence of Buddha images on the top portion of the walls of the cave number 15, that is the Dashavatar cave, provides some clues. So it seems that cave 15 was started as a Buddhist excavation, and maybe due to the lack of political support, or maybe due to the lack of or discontinuity of patronage either by the royal families or by the traders, the work was suddenly stopped. Although we do not have any evidence, either epigraphic evidence or textual evidence, to verify that why and how such work discontinued. But considering the conflict between the various sects, the interreligious rivalry or intersectarian rivalry, it seems that the Buddhists could not get further patronage from traders as well as from the royal families. We do not have any evidence to trace the continuity of Buddhist caves as an active center. It seems that till the early 8th century, Ellora was an active Buddhist center. Later on, the famous Mahanubhav Saint Swami Chakradhar stayed in Buddhist caves, and aftermath till in the recent period, these Buddhist caves, especially the cave number 11, cave number 12, are worshipped by the followers of Mahanubhav sect.